My name is Dawn Morrissey. I'm the director of the Irish Film Festival Boston.
Hey, thank you so much for talking with me today. Could you talk a little bit about how this is your 15th anniversary?
So yes, the festival is 15 this year. We were started in 1999 at Emerson College as a screening series, and we've grown strength to strength ever since, having been at the Harvard Film Archive and the Brattle Theatre for years. We moved over to the Somerville Theatre 5 years ago, and we have expanded exponentially over those 5 years.
So a very simple question, why Irish film and why Boston?
Well, I'm Irish. I'm from Ireland, even though my accent is very watered down after being in Boston for almost 15 years. Actually, 17 years, correction. Irish film, well, because Irish film has improved immensely over the past 20 years, and the industry itself has become able to stand as a stellar example of what it is to be good in the arts, and internationally we've been recognised in the Oscars over the last 10 or 15 years. So I think that overall Irish film is just, it now can punch above its weight in the world film arena.
Can you talk a little bit about the Boston audience? So why it's important to bring Ireland and Irish film to Boston?
So Boston is very much an Irish town. We have a lot of first, second and third generation Irish in Boston, and I feel that there was a huge need for an ethnic film festival, an Irish film festival in Boston, and we have a very loyal following and a lot of new followers who are not necessarily Irish but are just independent film goers. So we get a great mix. So, but definitely I feel that there is a huge need for the Irish to be able to see a contemporary Ireland on screen and not just a traditional Ireland, and that's what we tend to offer.
So you've had a really busy weekend this weekend. Do you have any surprising anecdotes from this weekend?
You know, it's funny because you program a couple of months prior, and of course I've had amazing help from my producer Siobhan Fanning and all the team. Of course, too many people to name out, but everybody knows who they are. It's funny because you start inviting people, and what happens is there's a synergy that's created among all these people when they arrive, and a camaraderie that creates a sense of belonging, and it just astounds me by every Q&A that we do, and the surprises that come out of them. Like, we had a state rep walk up to me today and say, I'm in the film and I'm here to do a presentation for Inez, a challenging woman, to Vinnie McCormack, who was the husband of Inez McCormack. So that just blew me away.
Yeah, that was an amazing moment. Can we just talk a little bit about your choices for the films? So on Friday you started with Boogaloo and Graham, and I thought that was a really interesting choice, especially because the first thing that we see for the entire festival is Belfast 1978. Can you talk about the choices for each night and why? Yeah.
So a lot of the time when we program the film, we do a call for entries, but on our odd years we do a curated festival. And so it can be a little more difficult to get films because you don't necessarily get them coming to you. You have to go look for them. So Siobhan and I were in Galway in July, and then we were in Cork again in November. And of course we've had filmmakers who've shown in the past, so they tend to send us stuff. It wasn't deliberate that we had a festival that this year had a lot of Northern Ireland films. It just happens that way. It's very much, you know, Boogaloo and Graham was nominated for an Academy Award and was shortlisted to the top 5, and it won a BAFTA. So it was kind of a no-brainer to open that with that, especially because it's a comedy. And we always don't get many comedies. Gold, of course, that we'd seen in Galway, and again, it's a comedy, so that was nice to open up with a comedy. Again, thematically, through the festival, I've noticed that there's a lot of women this year. And sometimes that happens deliberately, that we have a theme, and sometimes it's organic. So I think this year was definitely more organic. We had the producer and director of 1 Million Dubliners, Rachel Lysett, and her name's gone out of my head. Oh my God, Aoife, thank you, Kelleher, thank you. It's been a long weekend. And you know, that film is astounding, and it has a lot to offer. And for everybody concerned, that film it leaves people thinking about mortality and everything else. So someone said to us, "There's a lot of death in the festival this year," and we were like, "Really?"
Pretty cheerful about it, though.
Yeah, but we were like, "Really?" And then we looked at our shorts program and we were like, "Yeah, there's definitely a couple," but I think it's just, again, it all depends on. It's like artists, I went to Chelsea a couple of years ago, and every gallery I went into, there was a sculpture that was made of chess pieces. And I said to my husband, like, why is this a theme right now? And he said, are they just all copying each other, or is it just... So it's hard to know. It could just be a wave or whatever. But I think in general, it's sometimes it's how we put the films together more than the whole, the sum of its parts more than anything else. How you match up shorts with features is always interesting.
And today you dealt with some of the more difficult films, some of the more virulent films. What went into that decision?
So a lot of the short program I had seen in Galway. I'd actually been a judge at the Galway Film Festival for the shorts docs, and I felt very strongly that they would be set apart from the fiction shorts, because a lot of the time they're blended in, and I just felt that we needed to have a separate program for them. With that came the Mairead Farrell film, as well as the In the Name of the Father, and a couple of other Northern Ireland films that I felt that we needed to allow them to stand by themselves on a Sunday rather than getting caught up in the program earlier in the weekend. And I knew that having some people here for those specific films would generate a lot of interest for people and a lot of conversation, and which was really what did happen, and that's what we wanted to happen. We wanted an open dialogue, and we got it today. Very much so, and very honest dialogue, and the situation that's happening, not just with the peace process and the McBride Treaty, but also with what's happening in America right now with regards to race relations and issues like that. So it was great to have that conversation within the context of those films.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for speaking with me.